Hi, hi folks. My favourite seat in all of Witchbold because it feels like a throne to me. If your mind is pure, no matter where you are, no matter where you're sitting, no matter how lowly your circumstances, no matter what the situation is, if your mind is pure, you will feel like you're sitting in a palace. It's not the surroundings, but it's the mind that needs to be fixed. People run round trying to do this, trying to do that, for a better job, for more money, for higher promotion, for a more affluent life. But at the end of the day, it's not the circumstances that need to be improved to have peace of mind. The mind also needs to be improved along with the rest. So what people try to do, so let's put it bluntly, what people try to do in the 21st century and the 20th century is they try and accumulate as much possessions, as much money as they possibly can, regardless of everything else. But the problem with this is that the mind also needs to be improved. Okay, the last 50 or so years, maybe people have decided that they need to improve their physical health as well. But I think it's only just now that people are starting to realise that they need to improve their mental health as well. Mental health, without mental health, you can have all the money in the world and be dreadfully unhappy. People have committed suicide with many millions of pounds. People have, if the mind, to achieve equilibrium, to achieve balance, the mind needs to be balanced as well as everything else. I've said this a few times. It feels a bit like a sermon, really. It's just me whittering on. But honestly, I feel like I'm sitting on a throne here, and people would probably walk past this thing and look at it and think, ooh. But you've got nice surroundings and a crown pub and just. But it's not the actual thing, it's the mind. If the mind is made right, then everything will look perfect, even if it isn't. Everything will feel perfect, even if it isn't. If the mind is made right, but things will become perfect if the mind is made right. The outer circumstances will also become right, because prosperity goes directly hand in hand with mental health. If the mental health is improved, then everything improves. And if it doesn't, then those people that don't allow things to improve will simply be vanquished from your life. The people who go on drinking, the people who go on taking drugs, whatever they do, they'll simply be vanquished from your life. Because if the mind is made pure, if the heart is purified, then nothing can touch you. You have an aura of white light around you. Nothing can touch you. There is no fear that can touch you in the world. If the flames of hell was to suddenly rise out of the ground and race towards you, if your mind is pure, you wouldn't be slightly bothered. You wouldn't be the least bit bothered. So the mind, the mental health needs to be improved as well as the physical health, as well as everything else. If the mind is neglected, then this is why we have all these addictions. some kind of self-improvement needs to happen within the mind. Some kind of, whether it's counselling, whether it's meditation, whether it's yoga, whether it's just sitting and staring at the wall, whatever it is, some kind of silence needs to happen in the mind, some kind of stillness needs to happen in order for all these difficulties to be averted. If the mind is seen to, then all these other problems will simply fall away. The mind is prison number one. The mind, I'll say that again, the mind is prison number one. In other words, regardless of circumstances, if the mind isn't right, you'll feel like you're in prison. Regardless of circumstances, it doesn't make any difference. The mind is prison number one. The mind is your chief prison, or your chief liberator. The mind has the power both to liberate you and keep you prisoner. Because if it's not, think of it like a computer. If you keep putting things on a computer, eventually it gets so confused, so clustered, the hard drive just completely gives up. And in the same way, if a person keeps worrying about all different things, eventually that person has a breakdown, a mental breakdown, which is the same as a computer. That someone keeps putting something on the computer and doesn't delete it. Eventually the computer has a breakdown. The same way as you have to clean a computer, you have to clean the mind. You have to get a broom and you have to sweep away all the rubbish from the mind, clear it all away, put it in the recycle bin. Because if you don't, you'll have a mental breakdown. Oh, Buzz, it's coming. Bye bye.